having a conversation the other day behind the scenes with the Utini team. How did this come up? I don't know. You never know. These things happen, but once they happen, every now and then you're like, all right, I got to take note of this. We're saving this for the show, bringing it up on air. Somehow it came up about what Utini team member would you want on your team in a zombie apocalypse? Did y'all see this conversation?
Oh, yeah.
I did.
And somebody made the spectacular point. We eventually got around to saying that basically Legends Lookback sans me, everybody else on the team, they're all first round draft picks in the event of a zombie apocalypse. One, based off of her at our celebration, Emily will never go down. She never tires. She is the most resilient person on planet Earth. Emily, have you heard this before? Is this like new news to you? You are the first person chosen out of the entire team. Somebody was like, without a doubt, I would choose Emily because she does not quit.
I am flabbergasted. That I'm gonna have to go and reread that.
I'm also fairly certain that you own multiple guns, so like that would also
I mean,
help
that's
in a zombie
true.
apocalypse.
I feel like if they knew my husband, they would definitely have a first round draft pick. I would be like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak to how I would do. I do know how to eat a lot of wild plants, though. There's a lot of like, I know how to find consumables wherever I am. I'm very good at finding food. So like in that respect, sure. I'm pretty good at climbing trees, and I don't think zombies can do that. So maybe. I don't know. Why were Freddy and Rick picked?
Well, whoa. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, I'm disposable. No.
Okay.
Y'all should have tagged me. How did I miss this?
I'll find it. Go ahead.
I think, okay, so I'm like really insecure for some reason whenever these kind of conversations come up. It's like, yeah, I'm worth saving and for humanity. And so I start just going off on like, good at technical stuff. And then like my like fun fact when you have like those get to know you things was that I flew a plane and drove a boat before I drove a car.
That's right.
I don't have my pilot's license, but I've been around planes a lot. A lot of time.
I don't have my pilot's license, but I've seen them fly.
So no. Like
I mean, is
I've
been
in the front row.
Situation?
I've been in the front row of a single engine plane like probably a dozen times.
Rick's like, I got to visit the cockpit one time, and they gave me this little wing.
Yo, I got to toot the horn on the boat. No,
it's funny.
A little bit more.
Excellent point, Rick.
So
just fly over the chaos.
Yeah,
I love it.
And so I just try to like. But yeah, Jared, you're right. I don't really have many skills that really would help, and so I kind of just bluffing the way in. But I'm glad to know that I made the cut.
No, okay, Rick, you would keep us entertained.
Yeah,
I mean, you certainly like.
I mean, I got the school bus.
Timing.
I got the school bus, right? So come on,
you drive
the school bus,
and you tell the jokes.
There you go. They're not always good, but
I found the reason why Freddy was chosen round one, and it is spectacular. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oz says I would take Freddy
let
round
me come
one.
eat breakfast until I started a fire myself. No, that's
no. Here it is. Oz says I would take Freddy round one. No idea his survivability index, but he'd be able to find us a local bar to find beer in any town we venture through.
I'm down.
It's an ongoing joke that one time, it's like 3 years ago, Charles posted a picture of a brewery he was at, and it was just like two people sitting at a picnic table and then a TV on the wall. There was nothing descriptive about this picture whatsoever.
It was very bland.
In on the other side of the country. The other side of the country was in one of the Carolinas, east or west one. I don't remember the difference. Yeah. And Freddie
like
says,
South Canada, right? Yeah.
Freddie says, hey, sir, I've been to that brewery. It's your mama's, barnyard or whatever it's called. Well, no, he knew the name of the place, and everybody was like, wait a second, what? How did you do that? So one of Freddie's superpowers. My superpower is choosing the right Tupperware to put the leftovers in.
Oh, yes.
Time.
Oh,
hey, that's
man.
a good skill.
Spatial awareness.
I can also back a boat down a driveway or a boat ramp.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Without
That's important.
even having to do this number.
Uh-oh. You must be one of those mirrors guys.
I mean, boom. We are in the water, no problem.
Nice.
Will that help in a zombie apocalypse?
But did you put the plug in? Did you put the plug in?
Never, Rick. Never. I lost the plug years ago.
Oh my gosh.
What do y'all think? Anybody else we've missed? Who else do you pick in a zombie apocalypse? Do I qualify? I mean, anything? Anybody?
The spiritual aspect. There needs to be some spiritual uplifting.
Yeah,
right,
totally.
to rebuild society.
That's what I was thinking too from the beginning. Of course, my value.
For sure. Oh yeah, people. That's what they want in a zombie apocalypse.
Hey guys, be chill.
I actually did that as a youth event, a zombie apocalypse. There's actually a lot in the Bible that talks about zombie language. It's not talking about zombies.
But like rebirth.
Yeah.
Coming back to life.
Yeah, like also like the Lord's Supper, like eating the flesh, stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Well,
what I'm hearing is you've taught a sermon on zombies
to
the Bible.
To the children.
To the children.
Wait, is that better or worse? I don't know.
The Bible, zombies.
Bible zombies. Wow.
Yeah, it's
There's
a thing.
something here.
Well, I asked a buddy from college to go. I asked a buddy from college to come down and guest speak for me back when I was first starting out preaching. It wasn't Rick. It was somebody else.
Wow.
And I was out of town. And as soon as I got back, I was like, hey, how'd it go? And they said, don't sick him on us ever again. He preached a sermon about zombies. And I was like, okay, well, at least that means you can appreciate me, right? Right?
That's right.
Right? And without further ado, whether or not you are in a zombie apocalypse, if you're listening to this from the future and there is one, hey, sorry about that. But would recommend that you call
still up.
any of these other three in the event of one rather than me. Very useful, tremendous skills of their own right. Tonight, we're going to talk about, well, some other folks who would or would not survive in a zombie apocalypse as we finish our review of Darth Maul Shadowhunter, which is kind of like a zombie apocalypse under the surface of Coruscant. I mean, there's a lot of scary
it's like
stuff
the beginning and the end.
I just read Red Harvest, so I beg to differ.
There's one for you for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Nevertheless, I'm very excited to talk about this. So, Rick, without further ado, let's kick it off.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Lookback, proudly part of the Uchini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast for people who've been clamoring for adult Happy Meals for years.
Come on.
And now that they're here, they're fine. Kind of disappointing, honestly. Where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined by my legendary co-hosts. Shall we call him Shreddy Freddy with his guitar skills, or wannabe guitar skills one of these days. How are you, Freddy C?
Wow, Shreddy Freddy. Yeah, I'm doing great.
Did you
Jared,
hurt that cat? Sorry.
No, Jared, do you consider yourself a Swiftie?
For sure. Not a crazy Swiftie. I don't get into all the online predictions and theories. I get into some of them. But I don't I'm not in that world.
You wait till what is it, 12 a.m. Eastern?
No, I wait until my vinyl arrives that I pre-ordered months before in order to listen to it as God intended.
On the vinyl.
That's
got
right.
Got it.
On the vinyl.
Yeah, I also wait. Well, I wait till 9 p.m. Pacific. I don't have to wait
just
as
rub
long.
it in that you get to listen to it early.
I'm also waiting tonight. The Blink-182 album, or at least their singles, dropping tonight, and I'm staying up until 9 p.m. to listen to it. But I'm a big fan of Blink-182. That's been I don't collect many Funko Pops. I got Giant Boba here. Definitely got a Blink-182 one. Pretty happy about that, and they're definitely in the news right now. So
yeah, for sure. There's something about them I like. I mean, you have to if you're on this show. Well, what's their big hit, the big one?
There's What's My Age Again is one of my favorites. There's a to be honest, I'm gonna name some that are just some of my favorites. There's Dumpweed, which is really good.
For sure. I definitely know Dumpweed.
Dumpweed.
Yeah.
Man. Did a preacher come up with that? No.
Speaking of Dumpweed, we're joined by our producer, Rick Grace.
Wow. I don't even know. That was so good, dude. I love that.
That was teed up. Just Rick, you got to take some time and think about this, man.
Yeah, Freddie, you had more to say,
teed
but I
up
had to cut
well.
you off there, man. I had to stop it.
No,
Wow.
I just try to figure out where's my keyword. Where's the word that's gonna pop it over to Rick?
I just love nicknames and dumpweed, man. That's gonna be on my tombstone or my headstone. Man, I had this great bit I was setting up that I was gonna say, y'all, I've been multitasking and I just won an eBay auction for $41 and got Young Jedi Knights. But just to make fun of Skooma a little bit. Sorry, dude, that sucks. I've been there.
One of the
But
most chaotic pre-shows and episode openers we've ever had.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd.
So, Skooma Joe, it was not me that outbid on you, but I know that pain. And now I am the most ruthless eBay bidder sniper ever. I don't even start a bid until there's like 4 seconds on the clock, and I go ridiculously high so that I'm guaranteed to win. So yeah, there's that. But I'm here.
Well, if Skooma Joe gets, if we do a Secret Santa for some reason and Skooma Joe gets you, he's definitely getting you a dump weed shirt for sure.
Dump weed, man. Yep. Wow. All right. Dump weed. There it is again.
A lot of ways. Yep.
And Emily.
I'm just like looking for the transition. Emily, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm about to dump a lot of weeds up in Kansas, where we
there it
are
is.
moving in the spring. My husband, who works very, very hard, got a promotion, and we will be moving for some schooling for him. So yet again, this will be, what is it? Not the third. Is it the third? Will it be the third time I've moved on the show?
Yeah, I think
possibly.
So.
I think so. To Central Time Zone, which we were debating is the coolest time zone. I believe Rick said it was the Lord's time zone. But what do you have to say about that, Freddie, being the only one of us that won't be in Central?
Yeah, Pacific over here. What does the Red Hot Chili Peppers say? The song, the sun may rise on the east, but at least it settles in a finer location.
Oh. Nice. I love that.
Wow.
Does it settle or does it settle?
That's a good one.
Ready for the show now, guys. Let's go.
All right, on Legends Lookback, we are talking about Trusa Bakura all day, 24 hours.
Wait. Hold on.
You might want to dump your weed somewhere else.
Trusa Bakura.
Followed by Ruins of Dantooine for another 24-hour.
Yeah. Somehow recently. Oh, I think this came up. Freddie, you have to go back and check it. I'll send you the link. I think that this week, our buddies Eric and Corey from that other show on Monday nights, The Living Force, they were on Star Wars Explained as Molly and Alex Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Had the boys over to discuss Andor, the most recent episode of Cassian Andor. And there they brought up the Trusa Bakura on the live stream, Freddie.
Wow.
They talked about the Trusa Bakura with Alex and Molly Damon on Star Wars Explained. So it was a moment just like made for you.
It's the more you speak it into existence, a movie. Disney's going to get a hold of it. They're going to be like, you know what? We watch Legends Look Back every single day, and we want this Trusa Bakura thing back. We want it. We want dinosaurs. Look at this. See? I'm even wearing this shirt in memory of the Siruk.
In memory because Freddie is the king of rad shirts, by the way. Also rad hats. Freddie's just really good at a lot of things, apparently. All right. Anyway, Freddie's shirt has dinosaur bones. What do you call those? Fossils?
Shirt, yeah.
This is I know this is a technical term. I'm looking for it. So yeah, that's one very cool thing that is happening over in the Utini-verse. That's not all though. However, in case you didn't get the chance to check it out, last week we had a special bonus episode of Legends Look Back starring my brother, who's right here. Just kidding, he's not. But he was. He was in that video. It was very fun to get to share something Star Wars with him. And I was like, why can't we do this Legendsy? I almost made him watch the Ewok movies. And did a film commentary watch along. And my wife said, don't do that to him. So we watched the entire first volume of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, and I got his reactions to them. We talked about that thing on the back of the Corrin's head. We talked about the Asajj Ventress doing the battle against all those ne'er-do-wells. I mean, it was a lot of fun. So you haven't yet had the chance to check that out. It was wild. And a lot of fun to get to share that with my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It makes me see things in the point of view of someone who isn't a hardcore fan, or I wouldn't even call us a hardcore fan, right? We're just obsessed, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's
with Star Wars,
and he's
and he's a casual fan, right? Yeah, casual fan. You're most likely your everyday person, the kind of person who doesn't probably watch Legends Look Back, or maybe does. I don't know. But it was a good show.
He only ever sends me the bits that I like send him links to. I'm like, hey, this is funny.
It's a good show, man. Definitely go back, watch that show. Worth it.
It was very fun, very fun. Except for the fact that I didn't have my producer, so I cut off the top of my head. Couldn't frame my shot, man.
For shame.
Rick, I need you.
For shame.
What did we call him earlier?
Something. I don't remember.
Most exalted and glorious one. That's what it was.
What I have in the notes here is a man of 1,000 hats.
There
he
you
loves his
go.
hats. By the way, Freddie, I just sent you a link to a really rad retro droids hat that was online today over at Heroes and Villains. And as soon as I saw it, I thought about you. I mean, this thing was made for Freddie C, but to show it off on the next Legends Lookout. But before we do, next week, we've got a very fun special show coming up. We are doing a big crossover event. And I'm realizing right now, Rick, that I probably didn't send you the link for that poster to advertise it here on the show. But imagine a beautiful High Republic poster. It looks like the Oscars, kind of like that royal regalia, the color scheme of the black and gold, and the lights and the regalia, all that good stuff. Anyway, next week we're doing a big High Republic crossover. And you're thinking, High Republic? That's not Legends. You are correct. So we had to be creative. I went back and forth with Trevor over at the Star Wars Archives for about an hour, maybe two, about what could we do on Legends Look Back. Help me out here, Trevor. Throw some ideas at the wall. And I didn't go with any of his ideas. None of them. I did, however. It is.
Is this the right graphic?
Yeah, I want you to say it, Rick. What is this?
This is Utini, the High Republic.
I love this.
That one's all Joxy. That one's all Joxy. Yeah, so anyway, great job. We're going to do next Thursday, our portion of it. Freddie, tell the good folks what exactly we are doing for the High Republic Week here on Legends Look Back.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, I'm doing something that I haven't done yet. And I think everyone on this show is aware of what exactly is happening, right? I am going to be reading my first full-length canon book.
What?
Yes. I've read
Apart from
Aftermath,
Plagueis, you mean?
as Jared called it. Gotta give him credit there. That's a good one.
She said apart from Plagueis, Freddie.
Oh, Darth Plagueis, #1 canon book. Yeah. Apart from Plagueis. Yeah.
So you're second, really.
I've read Phasma, which I wouldn't really consider that part of it. Is canon, right? For sure canon, but it's more like movie, right? Movie tie-in.
Yeah, it's kind of like myths and fables, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, you read it, and we're just going to ignore that because it sounds a lot better to say that you are reading your first canon book.
Well, I didn't finish Phasma. I got to about. It was one of those books that it was on Libby. Found it, got the book.
Oh no, your time ran out.
Yeah, my time ran out in the last few chapters, and I was like, and it's gone now. It's not in the library. I never finished it. So this is going to be my first full-length canon book, unless you
don't finish in time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
I'm
very excited. We're going to watch your career with great interest. That's right.
I have not read anything. I don't know anything about High Republic. Usually I know there's a bunch of Jedi all of a sudden that came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, these are all new people. And I know that there's something going on with some explosions probably. That's about all I know.
Well, I was gonna make a dump weed high joke, but got nothing.
Yeah,
we're gonna basically give like a beginner's guide to the Old Republic for folks who enjoyed the High Republic and have read it all and like just need some more of it, something to scratch their itch. So we're each gonna give like an Old Republic recommendation or something like that might have some point of similarity to what folks might be enjoying about this new initiative. We're gonna talk from a Legends perspective about what it is that we've been reading over there in the canon world, and also get Freddy's review on it. I'm very excited to hear that, and tune in to both the Living Force and Star Wars Archives next week for the remainder of that initiative. Rick, we are about to have a big vote.
Mm-hmm.
I can see you typing furiously in the notes. So
furiously.
Tell the good folks what it is that we are about to vote on, what we want the community's help with.
Yes, we are going to have a previously unscheduled November roundtable. We have roundtables like every month, but yeah, scheduling, holidays, all that. We're going to ask you guys for some input and to help us figure out which book we're going to read and talk about. So yeah, we're going to nominate some and then narrow it down. And you guys in the chat will help determine the future.
That's right. So here in the chat, you can give recommendations. They might influence our recommendations. Tonight, we're going to try to settle on 4, possibly 5, if there's like a good fifth from the chat that we're going to put up on Twitter and in Discord. And then by this time next week, we're going to establish the final choice that we will then discuss as our November roundtable. Who wants to go first? Who has a pick? What is it that you want to subject the rest of us to, or, to celebrate with the rest of us? Hey, something that you love. It doesn't have to be punishment. What's something? Mine is going to be something that you would never read unless, you had to.
No, that's encouraging.
I'm gonna go grab mine. Go ahead, Emily. I'm gonna look for mine on the shelf.
Okay. In the spirit of Halloween and zombie apocalypse, I think Death Troopers might be a fun book to read. I know we've covered it on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
I have not personally read it, so I might be reading that on my own.
Those were the early days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, early days.
Emily, it was literally episode 0, so I think we can circle back to it at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in reading that one. It's been on my list, and I'm pretty sure it's about zombies. I don't know, there's a lot of like bloody helmets on the cover, so I'm assuming. But
we did get an ELC re-release.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's my choice.
I haven't read that one. So my whole thing with this November one is I just want to do one that counts for our race to the finish that doesn't count for Jared. 100%. That would be nice too. So
Yep.
Come on,
Reasons behind your choices.
Joke's on you. You're going to pick one that I like, and I'm going to enjoy it.
And I want to count it, okay?
You can count it, and I'll just enjoy it.
That's fair.
All right, so Emily, your pick is Death Troopers.
Yes.
Rick, what's your pick?
Okay, so I just read Red Harvest, so like that whole Death Troopers vibe is a possibility. So I need some help, y'all. Should we make the others read Red Harvest? I enjoyed it. It was really a funny audiobook, man. Some of their decisions and on the production side of that were really funny. But that's a different conversation.
It is an experience for sure.
It really is. But some books that I'd like to read, I'd like to dive into some in the Clone Wars era. I know this is 2, but the MedStar duology looks interesting. Some lesser-known characters, or any of the Clone Wars novels. So, like, let's see, what are they? There's a whole bunch.
There's a bunch.
Karen
Clone
Travis,
Wars Wild Space.
A bunch of hers, yeah.
Wild Space has Bail Organa. That's a good one. We did that way back in the day with Eric. No Prisoners has both Ahsoka and Rex. It's like an Ahsoka Rex Legends book, which is insane.
That's cool.
Karen Travis has a 5-book series that's about to get its release in ELC. That's probably biting off more than folks are ready to chew.
And they're not really standalone-ish, are they?
So you don't have to finalize yet, Rick, until next week. But those are all okay. Possibly MedStar, possibly Red Harvest. You could do a standalone, a standalone Clone Wars. Freddie, you have yours? By the way, I found my ELC of Death Troopers. Here it is. Got the zombies, the helmet. Yeah. The good news about this, super slim.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be able to read this
Ooh.
one real quick.
Mm-hmm.
See you
What
there.
you got, Freddie?
Let's go to that camera, just so we can see the
Oh, yeah.
OG.
The OG.
version.
There it is.
There it is.
I mean, that's pretty
Looking
good too.
beautiful. Looking beautiful.
Isn't there like a
let's-
bust that they made way back in the day when that book
Yeah.
when that first came out? Like you could actually get like a life size.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta find that online.
Yeah,
I bet you it's
Pretty
expensive.
cool. I mean, during this time, right, there was a lot of, I would say that the latter era of Legends, there was a lot of production or cross production with toys and companies that were, Star Wars at that time was pretty huge. 2012, around there. So
Yeah.
licenses like Sideshow would make like a Death Troopers statuette, stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure it's still available. I'm not sure actually. I should check that. But my choice for this round, I was thinking of going with this book here, but I feel like it's gonna get its time. Right now is not the time. Right now is not the time.
Oh, come on.
Right now is
It's
not the time.
He's holding up.
Lockdown.
Just guess what he's holding.
Lockdown?
The
If you
true
can guess-
Sibakura.
Those audio
True
listeners, exactly.
Epicura was the
True
most
Sibakura.
absurd book I've ever read in my entire life, and I like. Oh my gosh, that would be great. I'd love to read it.
Yeah, let's read that
Reread it.
one.
Or
But-
what's your other recommendation, Freddie?
this is the book that I'm going to pick, and I'm kind of shocked that no one else has picked it yet. But
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with Scoundrels.
I'm
Star Wars
gonna.
Scoundrels.
No comment.
That one's
If
real long.
you've read it recently, Rick, then like you're fresh on it.
Well,
You know?
yeah, I have read it. It already counts for my year because I had to read it very recently. But it was a really good book, and
And
it
covered it on the show, believe it or not.
reminds
We
me
have not.
reminds me of some things happening on a certain Disney Plus show.
That's
Different,
right.
Different
That's right.
plot points. But
I'm
same
a
time.
little lukewarm on it,
Actually,
so
that's a good point.
maybe
I haven't read
maybe
it
it's
since it
time.
came out.
Maybe it's time for a reread.
Yeah.
I think I've read it 2 or 3 times. It's just real light and breezy and
We
bingeable.
won't
so.
spoil it.
Mhm.
We won't spoil it.
No,
but
I
you
want
never
to tell
forget
about the
ending.
big ending. There's
No, right
this
now.
huge
You
thing
never
that
forget about the ending, though.
Okay, I won't do it. Okay, here's my choice. Already predicted by Skooma Joe in the chat. Ruins of Dantooine. This one is what I am picking. I want all
What a
of you to
terrible cover.
experience. Don't
That
judge
looks
the book by
awful.
its cover. Don't judge the book by its cover.
Do not make
Number
me
one.
read that,
Number
Jared.
one.
Emily,
Video
I'm-
game and
I'm-
book. Star Wars Galaxies.
I'm telling you, it's not that bad. It's
That
not
looks
great.
terrible.
It's not great. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
Jared, just because you're like scraping the bottom of the barrel does not mean you need to bring us down to your level.
Listen. All right, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It has a reputation for being one of the worst Star Wars books ever written, and I
Huh.
think it's because of the cover.
We have a new shirt idea in the chat. Skooma Joe. Do not make me read that, Jared. Quote by
Oh,
Emily 2022.
I was just thinking like the Shadows of the Empire shirt,
Oh,
but
yeah.
instead Ruins of Dantooine. The entire
Hey,
shirt.
I could get you a nice
Oh,
crisp
yeah.
screenshot from the video game itself. If you wanna.
I mean,
A crisp
could.
screenshot, like you can
Crisp.
see the pixels. Can't wait.
the pixels just jump off the page.
Mm.
I'm telling you, it was a very decent C tier book.
Jared, the only reason the only way I would read that is if when we did the round table, there was a roast section where we, in a positive way, because that's our commitment.
Yeah.
as
I'm just
Utini,
waiting for the
roast this
mm.
book.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. As I called it live here on the show, and I definitely was in my right mind and not at all in any way compromised by
Compromised
anything.
by the rat ghoul virus plague.
When I said this, I called it the Lost Stars of Legends,
That's right.
and I'm standing by that adjacent somewhere.
So
at least a little bit.
whenever I moonlight as a Star Wars Del Rey publisher, and I have to decide which Utini quote to go with for the ELC, I'm either going to put it's the Lost Stars of Legends, or what was it? It's a not terrible C rate book.
It's an absolutely decent C tier.
Absolutely yeah, decent. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
New York
Okay.
Times.
So, all right. Well, all we have to do is narrow down your choice, Rick, and then any community picks, any choices from y'all. We'll put like an extra add your own in the community and let folks contribute their own idea as well. I'm very excited. What about y'all? It's always fun. We get the communities pick. Freddie, I think the last time we let the community pick, we ended up doing Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Is that correct?
Which is not bad.
I kind of want to change my whole
it was bad
tack and choose like Lockdown now because I do want to read that one.
You can read it. You're welcome.
Depending on which book we read, if we read Ruins of Dantooine, we have to do an abridged version of the what is it? If we're gonna do a roast session, an abridged version of Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Have a roast session in between
Freddie,
those two.
I will quit the show before I ever do that again.
Got it.
When we did it for the show, was definitively my final read of that because I'd already read it multiple times. I had read the book and then the comic, and then for the show, I read the book again. And I'm not doing it again. I'm not getting those hours back in my life, and I recognize its important place in Star Wars publishing history, but I am not going to actually dedicate the time to putting my eyes on those words ever again in my entire life. There's not one. If we get an audiobook there, all right. If they ELC it,
Freddie C. audiobook,
I'll do it. You can record it, sure. I would listen to it. I would love to listen to you read The Ruins of Dantooine. No, what was Splinter of the Mind's Eye? This is getting off the rails. We're moving on. It is time to discuss in all of its
everything has a price.
Have 4 different covers glory. We are going to be discussing Darth Maul, Shadow Hunter tonight. One of the very first things we have to do with this book, however, is issue an apology. And that is, we said something last week, 2 weeks ago, when we did the first round of Darth Maul Shadow Hunter review. We were talking about all the different books that Michael Reaves has written for the Star Wars universe. And some of those were written with a co-author. And we were basically saying, like, hey, I wonder why that is. And joked about it a little bit and did not understand the full scope of what we were doing or of the situation. And we learned right at the end of the show, just seconds before we cut off and didn't get time to correct this live on air. We want to make sure that we do so now, give proper credit and honor and respect. And that is that Michael Reaves had Parkinson's that was developing, therefore had to enlist the help of co-authors to help him actually with the physical task of writing the books. And so that honestly is awesome that he carried on and was so productive as an author. And really do respect that and are, apologetic sorry for the way that we handled that last week. Anything else we should say about that, y'all?
Yeah, no, I can what you say. It's incredible that he's able to contribute so much to so many different ways. Like just diving into his Wikipedia page, man, it's incredible to see the different types of writing he's done in his career, screenwriting, all sorts of cool stuff. So hats off to him.
Yeah,
and this is
created a legacy.
This is without a doubt my favorite Legends book. So a massive compliment, hopefully to in some way make up for our massive blunder last week. So we are very, very grateful to get to discuss this wonderful book and thankful for Michael's contribution to Star Wars. Also, one other thing, Freddie, you said you wanted to make a bit of a serious comment here before we get into the meat of the show.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of people say thoughts and prayers to a lot of things, and this is another one of those instances. It feels like a lot of that needs to happen around here, I guess. But there was a mass shooting rally, and of course, our hearts got to all those people, everyone affected by that. Not just that, any mass shooting, just not okay. That's all I really want to say about that. Just hopefully you can find light in this dark time.
Absolutely. Well said, Freddie. And let's get into it. Last week, and by that I mean 2 weeks ago, The last episode that we did about Darth Maul Shadowhunter, we talked about the characters. However, we did not finish. Therefore, let's discuss just a few more characters here before we move on into the overarching questions. And the first of them is Lorne Pavan. Lorne is this kind of Coruscant underbelly. What do you call him? He's not a criminal. He's not an outlaw.
Is he a smuggler?
Smuggler. He's like an artifact aficionado.
He's a dealer.
He's a dealer.
What is it that we call a dumpweed dealer?
Oh, yeah, that works.
Specializes in Jedi artifacts.
He's like a pseudo Han character.
Mm-hmm.
He is that definite
yeah.
Middle ground, not quite light, not quite dark, kind of straddles the gray line a bit.
Very cynical and.
Yep. His seen life and probably just knows it for what it is.
Speaking of that cynicism, one of the reasons there is that and by the way, spoilers for Darth Maul Shadowhunter. That's not it. Here it is. Darth Maul Shadowhunter. If you have not yet read the book, now's your chance. I'd love to have you back once you have. One of the things is that his son, he was basically a janitor for the Jedi. He worked in the Jedi Temple. And then he was straight up fired because they found out his son was force sensitive. They took his son, Jax Pavan, who goes on to become the main character of his own trilogy in Star Wars Legends, the Coruscant Knights trilogy, which sounds like a hot nightclub album, doesn't it?
It does. It does. It
I've always
sounds
thought of it like that.
Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights. That's what it comes to mind.
Or I think of Arabian Nights, Coruscant Nights.
Hey, remember that time that it was the last time you ever sang on the show? That was a great time.
Man.
And so his son, Jax, is stolen by the Jedi, acquired, drafted, enlisted. What's the right word there? Kidnapped by the Jedi. and not only do they take his son, his pride and joy, they straight up can the man because you can't have the attachments and we can't have you, close to your son, and that we're just going to go ahead and sever whatever connection there might be. So his son is taken, he is fired, and he is angry. His cynicism then is almost its own obstacle. They go through all these different obstacles in the book. You've got the big Talzin and the street youths, and anyway, one of them is his own cynicism. I kind of thought that it's one of the big hurdles they've got to get through in the book. Is that cynicism first? Let's talk about it. Is it justified?
Lorne's? Yes. I mean,
Emily says yes. Why?
That's a good one.
Well,
go ahead, Emily.
Anytime there's a child taken without consent and there's an injustice done, cynicism is justified, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Counterpoint, this is Star Wars. Force-sensitive children go to the Jedi. That's the way the universe works.
But is that just? Are the Jedi good?
Not in this book, not for the most part.
What color are their sabers,
right
Rick?
The fall.
Yeah.
As long as their sabers aren't red.
They're not red, so.
They're not red.
Sorry.
That's good to me.
I'm still stuck on, you said street youths, and I just realized that if I was in the Star Wars universe, my calling would be a force cult on the lower levels of Coruscant. So thanks for that.
Yeah, for sure.
It reminds me of what is it, West Side Story? Everyone's snapping.
Yeah.
Story. Yeah. Emily says this is a wrong thing to do. It's hard to debate you there. But this is just, it is the way it is.
Yeah, I'm less bothered by his cynicism and more bothered by his creepy crush on the Padawan.
Okay, yeah, for sure. That's
so
a thing.
I'd like to talk about that.
That's a good point.
That's not in the notes, so we're not going to talk about it.
There were a few times I kept forgetting that he was an older dude who had a kid, and I kept thinking he just was this young teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there was some back and forth in the writing process, maybe where they weren't sure if he was going to be older or younger, and kind of just melded to
what his cynicism was for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, possible.
All right. So first of all, Darsha is about to become a knight. She's like trying to perform her last trial, right? In order to be a knight.
17. Mm-hmm.
What if
That's
she's
kind
19?
of what I read. Maybe she's 19.
Doesn't make it better.
20.
What's
and
the?
let's say
It's a little creepy. Can we
And
just acknowledge it's a little strange?
Let's say he's 45. Yeah, it is one of the more problematic
What is the
aspects
official
of the
age?
book.
Okay.
If Padawan becomes a knight, is there a?
There's not an age.
Is that like a thing?
No.
I don't think
Just
there's an age.
it depends on how good you are.
Yeah.
What if she's like a 40-year-old Padawan?
I'm just thinking about like 40-year-old virgin, 40-year-old
Yeah.
Padawan. Like
That's what I mean.
Rick, that is a great idea, man. Oh my God. It's like the deacon at my friend Carrie's church who was 90, Deacon Bob, and like could never get a promotion to become a shepherd. He's just like, Deacon Bob, he's just never going to level up. He's 90 years old, never could quite get his stuff together. Anyway, yeah, the 40-year-old Padawan. That's a great idea, man. I love that.
Skooma in the chat chimes in. Anakin was 20 when he became a knight.
So
and I think at this stage, like she's friends with Obi-Wan. Like they're the same year group, essentially.
my grandfather was 20 years old, was 20 years older than my grandmother.
Wow.
Okay.
So
when she became a Padawan, or what's the relevance here? You're just
Grandma was a Padawan.
okay. Yeah.
I'm saying that this is my favorite Star Wars book. Don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
I'm saying don't ruin it for me.
It
Emily,
is endearing.
No, it's not a good plot point. It's awful. I don't like that. And
Does
it's not
redeem
in
him, kind of.
and it's not in the abridged audiobook that I've listened to 100 times. The abridged version, they took this out. Joe says
I wonder
cancel
why.
Jared's grandpa. He's deceased, Joe. He's deceased. He's deceased. Okay. Anyway, yeah, that is. It's fantastic. No,
This night
here's
is
the deal.
just chaos.
Emily, this is not in the abridged audiobook. It was not. It
So
was
you were
not
not aware
a
of this
plot
when
point.
you decided to choose this as your favorite
No.
Star Wars book.
No, it was not. And I don't like it. And I don't think it fits. And I think that the redemption story of him being, of her being a Jedi who is truly good and deeply good
Yes.
and believes in him, even though he doesn't like her.
Mm.
And she says, I'm going to do right by you anyway. And I'm going to risk my neck for you anyway. And then him, by the end of the book, saying, maybe there is some good to the Jedi Order after all. And maybe my son will end up
Yes.
like you.
Yeah.
And I
That
hope my
would've
son
fixed
ends
the
up
whole
like
thing.
you.
Mhm.
That it does.
Mhm.
And it's in there, right? I'm not making
Yeah.
this up.
No, it's good. It's good.
That would have been, if it had been a platonic interest, it would have been beautiful. And it is a beautiful story of redemption where he starts as cynical, and I think that is a huge factor. It's like a catalyst for change throughout the book. Like
Yeah.
he makes decisions based on his dislike of the Jedi, and it changes the story of the book.
Mhm.
So it's an important component of the story, and it does change him at the end. So he allows himself to be won over.
Yeah.
And then ironically trusts the wrong person in the end.
We'll get to that. I do think that redemption story of Lauren being jaded and cynical and then coming to believe that there is some good in the Jedi and possibly his son being chosen as a Jedi is actually good for the galaxy
Mhm.
if he can become anything like her is that singular reason is why it is my favorite Star Wars book. The idea of there being a person that you believe in that can totally change your opinion on a segment of society is a great, it's something I wish we saw more of, and it's all the more reason for people to get out of their echo chambers and hang out with people that you don't necessarily like, or people that you're taught not to like, or programmed not to like, whatever that looks like in our society. But like, expose yourself to people of different viewpoints, and maybe you'll have your mind changed.
Yeah.
And that to me, that specific theme is what I love about the book. Yeah, the one problematic nature of it all removed, which wasn't in the abridged audiobook, wasn't there. Okay. Anything else about Lauren here? Was his cynicism justified? Does the cynicism drag down the book? Is he a likable character?
I liked him. I mean, I really liked. Help me out. What's his droid's name again? I5.
You called him IQ on the last show.
I5YQ, yeah.
Very smart droid there.
Yeah. I5, yeah. I loved I5. I thought that was great. And so those two work really well together.
Was beautiful.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like Lorne is like us, right? He's like the everyman. He's every person, really. He doesn't really, we can take sides of who we like on the light or dark side.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably think about the dark side and like, not too big of a fan of that side, but I don't like the Jedi. I feel like that's what Lorne is. And, of course, when he understands what is happening in everything, right, in the book itself, he kind of accepts his fate. And I think at that point, a lot of things change too, right? And of course, at the end, there is that whole thing, but in the whole thing that he's doing is he realizes how important his son is to him. He's like, I don't want to be the guy that just doesn't do anything, right, or becomes the guy that his son hates, or I feel like he's really doing it for other people too, and his unselfish he ended up in the hospital, I think, at the very end, right? Or at least that's what we think. But he ultimately is just the everyman, and he can appeal to all of us, which I feel like he's absolutely necessary in this book. He's our lifeline into seeing how everybody else sees things. And of course, really getting us to see like how messed up the rule of taking one's child away is not always the best way to go, clearly.
And this might have been one of the earliest examples of exploring the moral complexity of that issue in Star Wars. This was right after The Phantom Menace came out. I mean, this is over 20 years ago this book was written. There are other books that have done that in other shows. They've done that in a lot more deep detail, that moral complexity, the ambiguity of the Jedi, and taking the children and, training the clones and, they're holding the Force hostage as, saying like it has to be our way or the highway. But I still think this was one of the earliest examples of dealing with that theme, and it did it well. One of the other things I love,
though, how unready everybody is for the Sith. Just Lorne's cynicism, etc. Like, obviously, knowing the Sith are coming, it spells disaster. And I think what I'm trying to say there is he does. You know what? Come back to me. I've lost my train of thought on this one. I'm thinking of the relationship between him and Darsh now. That's a little interesting.
Now that we complicated it.
What I love about it is a prominent theme in the book that this, and it's a love, it's a warmth of affection, and it doesn't appear to be like a physical attraction quite so much as it is like a heart to heart kind of thing, which does help to redeem that a little bit. And he sees something
fallibility of the Jedi. That's what it pointed out to me, was the fallibility of the Jedi. Like it shows a crack already, right? We see the Jedi as this monkish race, and then all of us, or monkish, I don't know what we call them, species. They're not species. They're not a race. They're just this group, this cult or whatever. That's how we see them, or other people might see them, right? And it just shows how fallible they are. That your kid is force sensitive. Sorry, nothing we can do about it. And it's like, that's not quite moral. The morality is a little gray there, right? I think it's actually not the right thing to do. Of course, they're doing it because Sith, right? The Sith are not to be trifled with, as we can find out in this book.
Yeah. And speaking of, you've got the Jedi on the one side and the Sith on the other. And so Darsha and Maul have these parallel story arcs in this. Maul is trying to basically complete one of his very first missions by his master, that is going to basically, level up to where he can now officially go and do the big Sith missions. Don't mess this up. Do this one right. And then, hey, he's right alongside Darsha, who has to complete her trials in order to become a Jedi. So both of them, just like the apprentices that are trying to establish their places on their sides of this conflict. And Lorne is in the middle. He hates the Jedi, but he's clearly a good person. As we interact with him, he's somebody that we like. I think his goodness is displayed in the way that he gives equality to I-5. So he treats I-5 as a partner, not as a subservient. And so all the other ne'er-do-wells in the bar are like, how can you treat this droid like he's an equal business partner? And
he's not as morally corrupt.
He's like, why don't you ask him yourself?
As the Jedi.
It's like really forward progressive, for a Star Wars book in 2001, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you've got Lauren as this in between. He's neither Jedi nor Sith, and so we kind of are alongside him as he discovers his own moral compass and has to risk his neck for somebody he doesn't like. And that is a really interesting dynamic in this book. We talked about Maul and Darsha having these parallel journeys.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else I'm missing there? Like, if we were to compare and contrast, we pull out the whiteboard, draw the column right down the middle. Darsha and Maul, what are their similarities and their differences?
Failing.
Okay.
They're failing to I wouldn't say. Well, one fails to the test, right? One fails the test to knighthood. Technically, sort of, maybe not. I mean,
it was a pretty big failure.
Her first job was like save was it Hathmanchar?
Yeah,
just to take him to the temple, and
or
she
Ulf
failed
the
that pretty
Fondorian.
horribly.
I can never remember which.
And then, of
which.
course, to go to the Jedi Temple to go warn everybody that there are Sith failed. Should have done that, right? So she failed a lot, and of course. Maul failed the entire time to get this holocron to Palpatine. And I can just imagine,
We got that picture, Rick, of their big conflict, the lightsaber duel. I mean, it's just an epic. It's a wonderful image by Chris Travis. I absolutely love this image depicting. All the other covers of Maul Shadowhunter are just Maul looking ominous on the cover. This one actually represents the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it does show the parallelism of them being equal sides of this conflict.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they were equal, though. I mean, Maul is incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in control.
She almost busts the whole plan.
I think their paths are parallel. Like, they both fail, and then they both succeed at the end of the book. Like, her success ends her life. And his success comes at the very end of the book by accident. So, like,
when he turns into a spider.
Yeah.
That's another story for another day.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah, she failed, but so did he. He's supposed to contain this thing, and it kept on slipping away.
Times.
And so I think their story is much more parallel than maybe we're given credit for.
And I don't remember exactly. Okay, so I will say, Freddie, their stories are parallel. However, they are not equal in power or importance in the Star Wars
I think
galaxy.
that's the typical part of the dark side, right? And the light side is the light side is not really used for power and destruction, and the dark side is. So of course he's going to be naturally more, a little stronger.
The power of the light is their selflessness and their teamwork, their community. So they help each other.
And it's a more global impact, right? Like her. Actually, I'm not sure what her death proved, but well. We'll get there.
So I want to talk about that. I don't remember specifically, but in saving I-5, who wants to carry on obviously doesn't totally succeed at saving Lauren. That's not her fault. It's not her fault. But I-5 survives the series. He comes out of this book. He goes on to be, Jax's sidekick in the Coruscant Nights series, and then The Last Jedi, The Legends Last Jedi, as well. Jax is a Jedi who escapes Order 66. He survives Order 66, and then becomes a private eye on the underlevels of Coruscant.
I see something here.
Yeah, has the little detective agency. Anyway, I don't remember his long-lasting impact on the Star Wars galaxy. I'm thinking, if I remember correctly, that he plants some seeds of rebellion. Like, he basically helps start some pocket organizations that become the Rebel Alliance in the long run. Maybe. Don't take my word on it. It's not a spoiler. So, in a way, by saving I-5, who saves and protects and serves Jax, Darsha died to start the Rebel Alliance. Mic drop.
Good point.
The ripple effects. You never know the ripple effects of sacrifice.
Well, and that that could be 100% accurate, and I like that thread of plot. Let me throw out something else though, just to think about. This is kind of over spiritualizing things a bit, but for her purpose, her identity was so wrapped up in becoming a Jedi that when, like in the book, as she's realizing that she's failing her task and she might never be a Jedi, she's like at rock bottom. She's got no clue what her life is going to be about. And so for her kind of coming to terms with really opening up to the Force and letting the Force guide her, she in that moment kind of has her purpose. She finds her identity, and it's kind of this beautiful moment of, it may not be impacting anybody, but she is complete. And so that process, that journey, I really enjoyed that part of it. Just seeing how, man, she found peace. Even though she failed, she was able to, there was, success is measured differently. It's not in fame or saving the galaxy. It's in her connection with the Force is what mattered.
Yeah, it wasn't in dominating the galaxy. It was dying to save her team. And that is as important as dominating the galaxy. Hey, man, I love that. That's great. Fantastic.
Yeah, but you know what? The dark side of the Force was just too strong.
Yeah.
The attraction of that dark side.
And to that point, Freddie, I wonder, when you read the book, all right, I've read this so many times. I love it.
Yeah.
How many of y'all were y'all all three reading this for the first time?
I was.
Me too.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Did you ever think for a second that Darsha stood a chance of survival?
Heck no. No, I knew she was gone.
Freddie knew from page 1, Darsha dead.
Really?
Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, if
What?
there's
Page
any
1?
Jedi who, you know what I like about this though? Here's what I really like about this: when Obi-Wan gets inserted into everything, and you're just like, wait a minute, what's gonna happen? Because they're not supposed to meet yet. They don't meet until that very moment that we all see in Naboo, which the events of what's happening here, and the events of mainly here, I would say, also get your toothpick holders out. Lockdown, the events happening in these two books are all leading up to what we see. So technically, we know certain interactions that shouldn't happen, and we know if anybody says we found a Sith, they gotta be gone.
But from page 1, when she's just going to pick up some dude.
Oh yeah, I knew she was a goner.
How did you know that? How could
Freddie
you
started a lot of wars,
that?
okay? And
It
you
is
kind of
Darth
get
Maul.
to the point where it's like, hey, Rogue One, how come all these people aren't in A New Hope? Oh yeah, okay, that's why. Yeah. One by one by one by one.
Yeah.
That's an excellent point. Okay.
And this does happen in Legends. There's some
foreshadowing, I
that
guess.
survive though. I mean, Jax's son, he ends up surviving Order 66.
But he also doesn't, we don't see him in the book. If we saw him in the book and he saw Darth Maul, or he noticed that there was a Sith or was on the trail, it would have been completely snuffed out too, right? Jax would have made it into the future books. And that's, so part of this is, after reading Lockdown, I got to see the intense martial artistry of Maul. He's not allowed to use the Force in that book. And he gets through everything like it's nothing still, without even using the inkling of it, period. And to see that and understand that, and to see a Padawan facing that guy, not gonna happen. It's definitely not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Maul has to survive. And she's not even like a knight, right? You kind of think, okay, there's your cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Legends
Okay,
fodder.
well, I didn't necessarily know that she wasn't going to survive. I did know that Nimordian didn't stand a dang chance.
Yeah.
That dude was so dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's the most cowardly Nemoidian ever.
Like always on
It was the
antidepressants.
worst. And it was like, when he talks about he was too cheap to buy that device that would change his appearance, I was like, what is your end game here? What are you exactly expecting from this?
We'll get there. I see it in the
Cough up the credits or you're dead, man. Yeah, I was gonna skip that one, Freddie. So say what you want to say, man, about the sniveling Nemoidian hath Monchar.
I like the biological lesson it gave us of Nemoidians. I think they had
me too. It was gross. They're gross.
Yeah, they eat what, mildew, or they get mildew baths,
fungus, or like I don't know. It was all very swampy.
Yeah, basically think of what a fly would like to do and just attribute that to the Nemoidians. And they have like a special organ that pumps like antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines into their body or something like that. Very interesting.
We need alien biology with Freddy.
Back in with their nests or like I don't know.
Where are the doctors on this, man?
Get some bonus content.
It was funny to me that like it was so like there were so few places that Neimoidians would go on Coruscant. There were only like 4.
Yeah.
And like so they take 0 time to track down. like
yeah.
The fact that everyone knows like, oh yeah, that's where Neimoidians go.
That's the Neimoidian bar.
If there was an America and Coruscant, how many McDonald's do you think there would be?
Oh my goodness! Just on one corner alone.
Yeah, or like a Starbucks, like every level, just.
They would just name the planet McDonald's.
You would find me in the Chick-fil-A's.
Oh yeah, totally.
You want to find me?
It's only
for sure
is good
in the South, but yeah.
Correct. Well, they had them in New England. There was just the service wasn't friendly.
Yeah.
They were.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Well, now you don't even have to talk to anybody. You just put it in the app and pick it up.
Yep, you go grab your bag.
Nice.
All right, so here as we get ready to wind down.
Speaking of deliveries.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the items that is chased after throughout the book is this holocron that somehow has the entirety of Palpatine's grand plan with the Naboo blockade on this thing, which, by the way, I thought holocrons are like the in the Bane trilogy, the Sith Lord has to somehow open up the holocron using the Force and construct it meticulously by assembling the matrix and the lattices, and then they insert their persona into it. In this, it's like a USB.
Yeah, it's like it might as well be a data pad.
Yeah,
I was real confused about that too.
Like, was his shopping list also on that? And he was like, "Oh no, I mixed up my shopping list holocron with my evil plans to take over the galaxy."
Got a Smash Mouth soundtrack on there. I've got that on a flash drive somewhere. I cannot find it.
The only thing about a holocron is you do have to be a Force user to open it.
That's the
thing. The Jedi wouldn't open a Sith holocron; they would just stash it.
So
exactly.
So it could have been safe.
The hubris of the Jedi.
I kind of think the rules with this holocron are looser.
Yeah.
Than they are with the majority of Star Wars holocrons.
Like check on clones.
You give it a stern look, and it tells you all of its secrets.
Yeah.
They might as well have just called it the MacGuffin instead of a holocron.
Well, yeah, they might as well.
Let's just call it the MacGuffin. So maybe not Palpatine's wisest plan, but I do wonder about his plan involving Maul. It's clear at the end of the book that he wanted Maul to go and make a blunder and mess some stuff up and take some people out. And it wasn't so much Palpatine's concern over the holocron as much as it was he wanted Maul to develop on his journey as his apprentice. Needed Maul to make some errors and clean up some messes and mess some stuff up. I wonder, though, did Maul ever really stand a chance to be Palpatine's one true Sith apprentice?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Obviously, we cycle through 3 just in the prequel trilogy alone, from Maul to Dooku to Vader. You both say no. Why is that?
Emily, go. This is easy.
Oh gosh. Well, I had a really strong answer for this last week, and it's just that he's very one-sided. There's no guile in him. There's no political intrigue. Yeah, he's a tool. He's a brute. He's strong. He can get a job done, but he's not a mastermind.
He doesn't use his brain.
No. Yeah, and like Palpatine is the opposite of that. You know, he's hidden in plain sight, or Sidious is the opposite of that. He's constructing an entire situation for galactic conquest, like that. Like Maul cannot apprentice to that.
Yeah, exactly.
You might argue that even Vader is just a tool.
Mhm.
You know, Palpatine, Sidious, what are you gonna call him? He never plans on giving up the power, ever.
I think that's the whole point of Maul, though, right? If Maul had not died,
Mm-hmm.
he would have continued to be that tool.
Yeah, and I mean, like Dooku was just a tool too, a different type of tool, less muscular, more political. And Vader was just the mean, scary, intimidating enforcer. And so
That's a good point.
they're just
Dooku.
tools.
Dooku, number 1 draft pick.
Maybe that's Palpatine's big failing as a Sith is he doesn't actually embrace the rule of 2.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really train a full-fledged Sith Lord who
That's very true.
ever threatens Palpatine's place on the throne. Bane's version of it is you want to train a replacement who is better than you.
Yeah.
And they will advance the line of the Sith. And Palpatine's like, I'm going to train a few who are decent in different areas.
Who serve my purposes. Yeah. Who I'm going to manipulate to never have the I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? The ability or the, oh gosh.
The impetus, like the initiative.
Yeah. Just the chutzpah to go out and do it for themselves. Yep.
What I like about, go ahead, Freddie.
You know, you go. I'm gonna bring Darth Vader back into this because I'd like to make a nice parallel to Vader versus Maul. Right. In my opinion, Maul is 100% my master. My master wants me to do this. I do this. I execute. I'm good at what I do. I'm a killer. I don't. You know, he's a Sith. Vader, on the other hand, he is a tool, but Vader is actually, you know, he's pretty calculating. He's not dumb by any means. You know, his weakness is that he is a nubbin. Right? That's
what?
Vader's.
Rick, you got that sound queued up?
Darth Vader is a nubbin.
'Tis but a flesh wound.
Well, he's also very irritable. Like it's so easy to anger him, and he just snaps really easily. Yeah. But he does have more strategy than Maul does, I think.
I mean, he wasn't a master. Can't get him the rank of master, but he was an effective general.
Yep.
So, you know, I just wanted to bring that back. I feel like
he's got it in him, but I think Palpatine squashes it. And so it takes Luke to bring it back out. Like, hey, let's think outside the box, come up with a different plan. And that's, say what you will about Spider-Maul. What I do like about what Canon has done with the character is it basically takes him down to this lowest point, and then he builds back up with a different drive.
Criminal
and
Empire.
So you do see Maul develop a sense of connive. What's the noun for conniving? Cunning.
That's a noun too.
He's a gang lord. He's good at being bad, right? He's not like Palpatine. He can't influence the entire galaxy like Palpatine can.
No, but he conquers multiple crime organizations in Mandalore. I mean, that's no small potatoes.
But that's totally Maul, right? He's just a really good bad guy.
Absolutely. And you are all very good people. Before we wrap up the show, we are going to, how about that for a transition? We are going to, just at least for a minute here, give a little bit of a highlight of the recent audiobook performance, the Essential Legends Collection unabridged audio production of Darth Maul, Shadow Hunter. This is read by none other than Sam Witwer, who voices Maul in both Clone Wars and Rebels, as well as some other places as well. And it is a spectacular, absolutely spectacular audio performance. Might be the best Star Wars audiobook ever. We're going to at least play a very small sample of it here in order to talk about just how great this is, share it with the world. So what you got here, Rick?
Yeah, here we go.
5. Darth Sidious was also thinking about the Jedi. Their fire was dying in the galaxy. Of that, there was no doubt. For more than 1,000 generations, they had been the self-appointed paladins of the Commonweal. But that was now coming to an end. And the pathetic fools, blinded by their own hypocrisy, could not see the truth of this. It was right and fitting that this be so. Just
how
as
long
it was right
we're gonna
and
play it.
fitting
I do want to
that
get
the
to
instrument of their downfall
when he
be
does like a
the
good Palpatine impression. I know he's got one in it.
We'll skip around a little.
Why am I
even
slimy?
knew the
I think
name
in
thought
the
that
middle of
the
this he does like
Sith
a
were-
You want to keep going?
yeah. Russian roulette it one more time.
I'll skip forward.
I think he does go to a Palpatine impression.
planetary metropolis overbuilt with skyscrapers and towers constructed long ago. The buildings towered so tall and so thick.
Okay, we're not
that
going to listen to him
some-
talk about buildings, but I do. We'll have to look for the clip of the time. There's a place in the book where he let us know, listeners, if you find it, where he slips from his Maul voice into Maul thinking about Palpatine.
Oh yeah.
Thinking about what Palpatine is thinking, and so he slips from the Maul voice into the Palpatine voice in one sentence.
Yeah.
And it is
Wow.
really,
Yes.
it is masterful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
That's a great-
That's what you get for hiring a proper voice actor.
I think it's
beautiful.
I think as far as audiobooks are concerned, it's a little slow. The pacing is slow, so I actually had to speed this one up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Um,
he does. What I will say about this is he savors it. He
Yeah.
savors every word,
Yeah.
and it is deliciously evil. And he really dives deep into Maul, but you might want to, speed it up a bit. I think I was at ×2 for this one,
Yeah.
and I feel like I wasn't missing a ton, but yeah, it was very good.
Yeah. Usually you just put music,
Rick,
right?
Rick, and you just all right. Share with the good folks what it is you just told us
Oh.
behind the scenes here. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Let me drop this in real quick. As we were listening to the audiobook there, Windows Media Player was trying to find the right cover art, and this is what it decided was what we needed to go with that audio. So I almost lost it, so now you get to see.
We gotta share that with. Oh, I only just saw the arm. Sorry, get that off the screen. We
Oh,
gotta
dang.
share that with. We gotta share that with Sam Witwer. I mean, that's fantastic. Somebody out there, please tag Mr. Witwer and
Oh my.
let him know.
God.
Okay.
I couldn't
What a
believe
great
that.
moment. Anyway, fantastic. Quite possibly, let us know what you think. Quite possibly the best Star Wars audiobook of all time.
And album
Both
cover.
for the quality of the story and for the performance. It's at least in the, it's at least on the pedestal, don't you think?
No, it was incredible performance. Incredible.
Totally.
And
Definitely.
so that is going to do it for this week. We have coming up, like I said earlier in the show, next week, the High Republic Roundtable, as we kickstart phase. There's phases and waves. Which one is this? A phase? It's just a phase.
Phase
Yeah,
2,
phase
wave
2.
1.
Phase 2 of the High Republic is kicking off right now over in Canon. We're going to join in on the celebrations there. And even Freddy, the King of Legends himself, is going to read a canon book just for you, good listeners. And without further ado, that is going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining us here on Legends Look Back. Thanks to our incredible patrons for your support. We love making the show, and we are glad that you are along for the ride. A special thank you to our Jedi High Council, Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander, and the Alliance High Command, Ashley Ingalls, Elizabeth Cloutier, and Sally and Chris Eilerson. If you'd like your thoughts around the show, our contact information can be found in the description. We are also on Twitter at Legends Lookback. If you're looking to buy some of these books, such as Darth Maul, Shadowhunter, or the book we're talking about a little bit next week, Light of the Jedi. That's weird to say on our Legends show. Woo. You can go on over to utini.com, click on the Amazon link in the profile, and remember, until next week, keep that Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.